Greetings. This is Unit 1, Module 2, Session 4. The name of this home connection is Multiplication Facts Strategies. It's a two-pager. Put your name and number at the top in case you lose it. Good thing to do. We're talking about doubles plus one set facts. Wow, there's a lot going on there. So when we're thinking about this, notice it says when one of the factors is 3. You can think about the doubles fact and then add one more set of the number being doubled. And they give you a good example. And it's down below. And I'd like to work it with you, okay? 3 times 6. We know that we could say, we could add 3 6 times. We know that we could add 6 3 times. But if we use this idea of how do I figure 3 times 6, well, 3 is really close to 2. So why don't I take 2 times 6 because I can double 6 pretty well. We know that 2 times 6 is 12. But if we're trying to do 3 6s, we need to add one more to it, which is why we have this here. 12 plus 6 is 18. So it's like double and add one more. Okay, so if I'm going to take, and maybe I'll write this just a little bit bigger off on the side just so that you can follow along with me. I'm going to take 3, ooh, that's not what I meant to do. I'm going to take 3 times 6. Well, let's just double the 6 and take 2 times 6. We know that's 12. Let's take that 12 and add one more 6. Oop, I said one more 6, and then I wrote the number 1. And add one more 6, and then we would have our answer 18. So if we were to count the number of 6s that we added together there, what would that be? Well, there's 2 6s here. There's 1 6 here. There's our 3 times 6. So this idea of doubling and adding one more could be useful if the numbers get a little bit more complicated. But for now, don't forget to put your answer down on this line, okay? If I come up over here to 7 times 3, let's do that doubles fact again. Down here, they said we're going to do 7 times 3. Well, first, let's just double 7. 7 times 2, we know that's 14. If we add one more 7 to it, we get our 21. And if you look at the shading on the side, maybe I could thin this out just a little bit. They took the number 7 right here, and they doubled it. So there's my 7 times 2 right there. That's how they got 14. And then they just added 7 more to get a total of 21. This is our doubles fact. Here's an example of using it with larger numbers. If you're going to take 3 times 25, well, once again, here's a 3. So let's just double the 25. That gives us 50. Add one more 25 is our 75. That's one way that we could do a 3 times something equation. Same thing over here. I see another 3 right here. 3 times 150. Well, let's go ahead and double 150. If you do that, you would have 300. Add one more 150 to it. That's how we get our 450. This is a doubles fact. Doubles, then add one more, okay? If you were going to try it from scratch, I'll do this one with you, 3 times 5. And you might know that 3 times 5 is 15. That might be a fact that's in your head. You might know that. 3 times 5, 15, easy peasy. But if you were going to use our doubles, we know that 2 times 5 is 10. And then if we take that 10 and we add 5 more, that's how we get our 15. So if we were going to shade this in, maybe this is our 2 times 5. Okay, and maybe shade this in blue. And then if I was going to add 5 more, that is what is going to give us our total of 15. That's just one way to visualize that doubles fact, okay? Let's come over here and try another one. And if you want to pause this video at any point and try it on your own, I highly encourage you to. 3 times 8. Okay, let's start with 2 times 8 because we're going to double it. We know if we double 8, we get 16. And then if we add one more 8 onto it, what do we get? 24. If I were to visualize this, Well, let's do our 2 times 8. There's my 2 times 8. Sorry if my drawing is not as good as you'd like it to be. And then if I add 8 more, shade that in as well, that would be our doubles fact, where we double the number. So we doubled the 8, added another 8, got 24. The more you do this physically by drawing it rather than just looking at it, the more it's going to sink into your brain. So I highly encourage you to draw these along with me, okay? If you had 2 boxes of 8 crayons and your teacher gave you another box of 8 crayons, how many crayons would you have? Oh my goodness, this is a doubles fact right here again. 2 boxes of 8 crayons. There is our 2 times 8. Okay, there's our 16. And then the teacher just gives you another box of 8 crayons. Add another 8. That is our 24 that we just did over here. Because what is that? 2 times 8 plus 8 is the same as 3 times 8. You get the same answer. This one down here, I bet is going to sound a little familiar too. Cody bought 2 bags of 5 apples. Okay. He already had 1 bag of 5 apples at home. So how many does he have in all? Well, 2 bags, 5 in each, 2 times 5. There's our 10. We already had 1 bag of 5 apples, so I add 5 more. There's our 15. This is the exact same problem that we did up here, where we doubled the factor, so we doubled the 5, and then added 1 more 5. So we have 3 times 5 in total. Now, this is where you get to be clever. And unfortunately, I can't do this with you because it says to write a story problem, and it wants you to write a story problem using this doubles plus 1. So in other words, you're trying to think of a story problem like the 2 above, where maybe you have 2 somethings that have a certain amount in them, and then you add 1 more of them on there. And so it ends up being a times 3 type problem. Okay? Pause this video, see if you read these, reread these if you want some good ideas. But at the end of the day, you want 2 somethings, right? This has bags, that's boxes. Yours could be 2 containers. It could be 2 jugs, 2 cars, 2 whatever. But then it needs to have 5 things in it. And then eventually you get 5 more of them, okay? Go ahead and give that a try. Here on page 2, it says on number 5 that it wants you to circle the group of 10 in the arrays below and solve the equations. Circle the groups of 10. If you haven't had a chance to do this, I'm going to show you. This is an example of circling a group of 10. Okay? And this says that we're going to do 7 groups of 10, 7 times 10. So really, I need to keep going. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And if I count by tens 7 times, what do I get? 70. You could think 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Or we could use our fun zeros fact, which is any number times 10 is the number with a 0 put on the end. Okay? It says the same thing on this one over here, except we're doing 10 times 9. And you kind of look at this, we can't really circle this way, can we? If I were to circle in this direction, well, there's really only 9 of them shaded in, so that doesn't work out. So I'm actually going to go up and down, okay? So I'm going to do 9 groups this way. So these are groups of 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, oop, that one wasn't very good, and 9. And then I could answer my question, 10 times 9 is 90. My circles might be faster than yours, so if you ever need to pause, please do. If you think you can handle the next problem, or if you just want to try it to see what you know, I highly encourage you to do that. Number 5, still on number 5, says, when you understand place value, multiplying larger numbers by 10 can be easy too. These are examples down here where you carry the 0, right? this has 2 zeros, so the 2 zeros get placed on the end. I like to think of it this way. Just forget the 0 for a second, right? Pretend that 0 is gone. 1 times 25 is 25, then put the 0 back on. This one might seem a little trickier, but really the zeros are just in two different places. Here's a 0, there's a 0. 67 times 1, 67. Put the zeros back on. Okay, so if you take 2 zeros off, you have to put 2 zeros back on. It's a handy strategy to know. Okay, when one of the factors is 5, you can multiply the other factor by 10 and then divide the answer in half. This is called a half tens fact. So anytime you see a times 5, right? If you any problem, you see something times 5, where 5, excuse me, I messed that up. Let me fix that. Or if I think 5 times something, anytime I find a times 5, you can find the solution by just multiplying it by 10 and then cutting it in half. A couple examples down here. Oh, didn't mean to put that there. Let me put that back. Okay. So I have 5 times 6. Here's my 5 times 6. Well, instead of just saying the answer, you could do your half tens fact. Instead of taking it times 5, just for a second, take it times 10. We know that answer. 6 times 10 is 60. What is half of 60? 30. That is the same as taking 5 times 6. So I can erase that, put that back. 5 times 6 is 30. Okay? Sometimes that strategy could be helpful. Sometimes it might be more steps. You have to be choosy when you're looking at them, but they're good to practice. Here are some half tens facts on the side. Let's zoom in a little bit. 1 times 10 is 10. 1 times 5 is 5. Okay, that's not too bad. But if I say 2, let's do our times 2. 2 times 10 is 20. 2 times 5, well, it's got to be half of that, which is 10. So what I want you to do is I want you to think this number times 10, cut it in half. 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 If you're missing a number, you might have to just double that number, okay? So here we go. This number times 10 is 30. Well, 3 times 10 is 30. 3 times 5 is this number cut in half. Half of 30 is 15. And yes, if you did add 5 plus 5 plus 5, you would get 15. This is just another way to solve. 4 times 10 is 40. What is half of 40? 20. You could also say 4 times 5 is 20, and that would be totally fine. Next one, 5 times 10. Remember our zeros trick, there's going to be 50. And we know that 50 times 5 is 25. We could also say, what if you double 25? Go backwards. Double 25, you get 50. 6 times 10 is what? Think of your zeros trick. 60. What is half of 60? We're going to put that answer in there. Half of 60 is 30, which is the same as taking 6 times 5. So many ways to do these problems. I could do 6 plus 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 6. I could add them, or I could use my zeros, or I could count by tens, or I could take 6 times 5 and get 30 and then double it to figure out my tens fact. So many ways you can do math. It's awesome to have options. Okay, a couple of these I'm going to ask you to do on your own, but I'm going to set you up. Max had 6 dimes in his pocket. How much money did he have? Just so you're aware, a dime is 10 cents. Okay, but he has 6 of them. I'm going to let you do that one on your own. Pause this video and move on to number 8. Or pause this video, do number 7, and then continue on to number 8. Jose had 7 nickels in his pocket. How much money did he have? Well, a nickel is 5 cents. Okay. After you've done number 8, you're going to do number 9. If Susie bought 9 baskets with 5 large peaches in each basket, How many peaches did she buy? This looks like a multiplication problem. And if you wanted to, you could use your half tens to answer this one. Okay, if you have questions about this, please ask one of your teachers or one of your trusted adults, one of your math wizards. Let them help you, okay? Check you later.